If you're thinking about moving to Austin, Texas, you've probably heard about suburbs like Leander, Cedar Park, Georgetown, Round Rock, like all those northern area Austin suburbs just seem to have it all. But what's it really like to live up here? You know, a lot of these positives and negatives that I'm going to tell you about in this video are things you would never know about unless you actually lived here for a while. My team has helped hundreds of families relocate to the Austin area, and I'm going to tell you right now, these 7 pros and cons of North Austin will not show up on Google, Aaron. And we talk to people every single day, just like you, who are thinking about relocating to Austin, and North Austin is almost always part of the conversation. So today we're going to alternate between 1 pro, 1 con, 7 times so that you can really see what it feels like to live up here. Let's get into it. All right, pro number 1 of North Austin, Texas is the excellent schools. There is no two ways about it. On average, the schools in Northern Austin and the Northern Austin suburbs are verifiably higher rated, better quality than the schools in general in the Southern Austin suburbs. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for that. I always say that probably the biggest bang for your buck that you're gonna get in terms of like school versus home price ratio is going to be in Leander ISD and Round Rock ISD. So if you're living in Cedar Park or Leander, Texas, you're going to be zoned to Leander ISD. And if you're living in Round Rock, you're obviously going to be zoned to Round Rock ISD. And I think this is totally crazy. So I talk about this all the time, but 2 of the highest rated school districts in all of Central Texas are going to be Eanes ISD and Lake Travis ISD. So for Eanes ISD, the average home price is going to be about 2, 3, maybe even a little bit higher, $3 million. And Lake Travis ISD, the average home price is about $1.5 million. Now, Leander ISD and Round Rock ISD are like so close to being almost as good as those school districts, but you are literally going to pay 3, 4, 5 times less for your home. So you can get a great home in Leander, Cedar Park, Round Rock, great school district for, you know, right around $500,000, which is absolutely absurd. Now, you do have to be really careful because it's not like no matter where you live in Round Rock, Leander, or Cedar Park, you're automatically zoned to an amazing school. There are some pockets of those areas where the schools your kids are going to be zoned to are not quite as good. So if you're interested in North Austin, you're interested in these areas, and you really want to make sure that your kid has the highest percentage chance to go to a highly rated school, you have got to get a hold of us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we will hook you up with all the information that you need. Okay, now let's talk about a con of North Austin. And something that you're gonna notice is that with a lot of these cons, it's gonna be almost like a corresponding trade-off to the pro that I just mentioned. So for example, I just said a pro is that the schools in North Austin in general are excellent, but one of the cons of North Austin is that the schools can be pretty intense. They can be super competitive, and it can really put a lot of pressure on kids that honestly, they're just too young to take that kind of pressure. I actually, way before my real estate life, I was a teacher for 8 years. I was also a tutor. I worked for this company that did like PSAT, SAT, and practice PSAT prep. And guys, like I can remember a lot of students would come in from North Austin, from Round Rock, from Cedar Park, from Leander, from Georgetown. And a lot of those kids, they were in like 8th grade. And I can remember them taking these practice PSAT tests, and they would like literally cry. Like I could see them just crumbling under the pressure that their parents put on them. So you know what? You might be watching this video and be like, heck yeah, put the pressure on my kids. Like they should perform and they should do great. But for me, that is a big con. And it's not universally true in North Austin and those great school districts, but it is definitely something that you're gonna wanna think about. Actually, one of my team members, Glenda, she has lived in Cedar Park for 28 years. She worked in Round Rock ISD forever, and I poached her away from education to be on my real estate team. So if you want to know, like, hey, specifically which schools are super hyper competitive and which are good but a little bit more chill, definitely reach out to us, and Glenda will sit down and talk to you and tell you exactly what schools you should steer away from. But this is definitely something that you're going to want to think about. All right, now pro number 2 of North Austin is that there are so many great master plan communities to choose from. I mean, there is seriously an embarrassment of riches. And when you think about the suburbs that make up North Austin, even North Austin, like the city of Austin itself, but when you think about the suburbs that make up North Austin, you've got, you know, Cedar Park, Leander, Liberty Hill, Georgetown, Pflugerville, Round Rock. I would even consider Hutto a North Austin suburb, and all throughout, just peppered throughout those suburbs, you've got really great master plan communities. Like just a few off the top of my head, you've got Bryson, there's Brushy Creek, Treviso, Crystal Falls, Wolf Ranch, Cat Hollow. It's ridiculous. Blackhawk, did I say Blackhawk?
No.
Off the top of my head, there's probably 15 to 18 stunning master plan communities in North Austin that offer safety, great schools, really great houses by good quality builders that we love. Now, there's some builders that we hate, and if you want to know exactly which builders those are, definitely reach out to us, and we will tell you all the things explicitly that we can't exactly tell you on YouTube right now because I don't want to get sued. Now, in South Austin, there are definitely some really great master plan communities as well, but they're just not quite as abundant as in North Austin. It's almost like you can just close your eyes and turn around a few times and point in a direction and you're gonna point to an amazing master plan community. Now, con number 2 is kind of the downside of there being so many great master plan communities. The negative is that a lot of these communities only really offer homes on kind of smaller lots and kind of tighter land situations, okay? So here's what I would say about that. So we work with a lot of people, who just like you, who are moving from California, they're moving from maybe Chicago, New York, areas like that, where like they have literally never had a yard in their entire life. So for you, the yards up in North Austin might be perfectly adequate. And you can get a giant yard in North Austin, but you have to pay a high premium for that. But for those of us, like me and Aaron here, my dog, who have grown up in Texas, we're used to kind of having bigger lots, a little bit more land. And so you might see kind of the lot sizes like 0.18 acres, 0.13 acres that you can get in most of these North Austin master plan communities. And it might make you a little sad. Okay, now pro number 3 of North Austin, Texas, I would say is kind of like the robust commuter toll road system. Okay, so just in North Austin alone, you've got toll roads 45, 130, you've got 183, Mopac, I-35, and so many other roads that can kind of help you traverse some of the really, really bad Austin traffic. Now, I know most parts of Mopac and I-35 are not a toll road. Actually, no part of I-35 is a toll road as far as I know, but some of these other roads, they do have toll road options. And I know like I-35, I always say was created by Satan because there's always traffic on it. I feel like no matter what time of day you're on I-35, you are going to have traffic. So for me, as an Austinite, I do everything I can to avoid I-35. And if you're living in North Austin, there are just so many ways that you can do that. And there are a ton of people who live in North Austin who commute into downtown or who commute to the Domain, which is where we are right now. A lot of major employers are here. And so a lot of those people just have a super easy commute in and out because of the great toll road systems. All right, now the third con I would say about North Austin on the flip side of those toll road systems is still, I don't care how you cut it, when you're living in these suburbs, you are still gonna have to drive a lot. Okay, straight up, just get over it. You are gonna have to drive a lot. I've worked with people before who have said like, I don't care about going into Austin. I just wanna live out here in Leander and I never need to go into Austin. And I'm like, dude, that's absolutely fine. But just keep in mind, still just driving your kid to, soccer practice or picking up your daughter from math club or like going to cheerleading or football games or whatever, you still are gonna have to drive a ton just traversing around Leander itself. So I know Aaron and I were in Georgetown recently, and to get from one side of Georgetown to the other, I think it took us like 20 minutes. Okay, it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it was kind of during rush hour. A lot of kids were getting out of school, people were coming home from work, but still, man, just a lot of the growth has caused a lot of congestion. I mean, traffic can be really bad just within the cities themselves. Okay, now pro number 4 of North Austin is just that there is so much to do here. Okay, and I'm not just talking about the Domain in the city of Austin. I'm talking about in these suburbs. So in places like Georgetown, Round Rock, Leander, Cedar Park, you have tons of nature trails that you can explore. Like you could spend a lifetime exploring these hiking, biking, jogging trails, and you'll barely even scratch the surface, okay? But there's also just a lot to do in terms of like dining, shopping, retail stuff. even just for kids to do. Like, they've got a lot of great sports complexes. And so there have just been I grew up in the Houston suburbs. And so there have been so many times when I've been driving around North Austin in these suburbs and I'm like, oh, like this reminds me of what it was like when I was a kid. Like, there was always like sports and activities and fairs and festivals and parades going on. And that's just kind of like the culture of a lot of these places in North Austin. So if you like super involved, tight-knit community, you are gonna love living in North Austin. Now, on the flip side, I said there's a lot to do. There is a lot that has attracted a lot of people. Like, a lot of these North Austin suburbs have just boomed and just gone kind of nuclear, especially since the COVID pandemic. But I already mentioned that they are experiencing a lot of growing pains, a lot of congestion, but they're also just experiencing literally a lot of construction. So I always say, like, man, if you're living in Leander, I'm telling you, it is still booming. Like, if you're gonna live in a brand new master plan community, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get a great price for a really great house, more than likely, especially if you work with us, because we'll get you a great deal. But you're also gonna be living around intense construction noise, probably for the next 3 or 4 years. And that's just the way it is. Pro number 5 is that a lot of the major tech employers are right around here. They're actually right around here, around the domain. I mean, almost spitting distance from where we're sitting right now. You've got IBM, Indeed, Amazon, Verbo, Apple. There's a lot of huge employers that have really driven a lot of the growth to Austin in the last several years. So a huge pro of North Austin is that if you're moving here, it's very likely that you work for one of those companies, or you work with a company who works with one of those companies. And it's gonna be very like strategic for you, very advantageous for you to live close by. Just being here, being in North Austin, over here, you know, like I keep mentioning, Cedar Park, Leander, Pflugerville, Round Rock, a lot of those cities, a lot of those suburbs that are just right around here, around these tech employers, you just feel it like oozes with opportunity. And that's just a really cool feeling. And then on the flip side of that, I would say the 5th con about North Austin is because of all the growth that has been driven to this area of Austin, the prices are a lot higher on average than the corresponding areas in South Austin. There's a lot of job opportunity in North Austin. The schools are on average much better. It's a much more strategic location to kind of plant yourself in, but that's true for the overwhelming majority of people. And so that demand has driven up prices. So if you're gonna be in Cedar Park, Leander, Round Rock area, you're probably gonna wanna plan on spending at least, I would say $400,000 to $450,000 on the low end, and then $700,000 to $800,000 on the high end. And look, if you can spend $700,000 or $800,000 in one of those areas, you're gonna get an amazing house. Don't get me wrong. But if you're gonna be living in a South Austin suburb like Kyle or Buda, maybe Bastrop, San Marcos, which are great areas, it's hard for me to imagine what a house over $600,000 there would even be like at all. You can easily get into those areas for $350,000 to $400,000. So it's just more expensive up here. Okay, now pro number 6 of North Austin, Texas is something that you will not think about unless you end up needing it. And everybody ends up needing this at some point in their lives. And that is a good, robust hospital and medical infrastructure. So up here, you've got Baylor Scott and White, St. David's, Ascension. You've got urgent care facilities everywhere. So if you need like pediatric, adult, elder care stuff, like really it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, you're gonna find world-class medical care up here in North Austin. And so con number 6 of North Austin, it somewhat corresponds to the good medical infrastructure, and it's that you've just got higher property taxes up here. Now, for real estate taxes, otherwise known as property taxes here in Texas, I wouldn't necessarily say that the property taxes on average are higher in North Austin than South Austin, but just in this region in general, it's something that a lot of people who are relocating here from out of state, there can be some sticker shock for sure. Now, we do not have a state income tax, so that's also something that you're gonna wanna keep in mind. And a lot of times, that state income tax kind of cancels out the high property taxes here. So if you really want to know like exactly how the no state income tax and high property taxes affect you specifically, get in touch with our team. Let's get you hooked up with a financial planner, a good mortgage lender, so that they can really crunch those numbers for you. But just so that you know kind of what to expect, oftentimes property taxes here can start in the low 2% and even get up into the low 3%. So imagine your property tax rate in one of these great master plan communities is 3%, and you're buying a $700,000 house in, let's say, Treviso. that means that potentially your property taxes can be upwards of $21,000 a year. So if you do the math, that's an extra $1,750 per month in terms of your house payment, which is crazy. Keep in mind, in defense of the property taxes, it's not like you get nothing for that. By paying those high property taxes, you do get, again, those world-class schools. That's where most of the property tax money goes here in Texas, is to the school district. So you get great schools, great medical infrastructure, a great community college district, and great kind of emergency services and things like that. So I think you get what you pay for, but still the property taxes are really high here. Okay, so Aaron and I, we stopped here at Houndstooth Coffee. So good. This is actually one of my favorite coffee shops in town. They have a location right by my house. So good. But we got to move on. All right. So pro number 7 of North Austin, Texas, is that culturally, North Austin is a little bit more buttoned up, and it feels just like a little bit more family friendly. I think when I know because we get to talk to a lot of you guys all the time, is when y'all move to Austin, a lot of people just imagine Austin being, uniformly super liberal. It can be like a little bit gritty. Even like downtown central Austin can even be like a little rough around the edges. It can be a little dirty. There can be kind of a transient homeless population from time to time right around downtown central Austin. But what a lot of people don't realize until they come here is that you go just a little bit outside of the central Austin core, and our suburbs and the outskirts of town are a lot more politically diverse. I would even say it's a lot more politically conservative. It's a lot more family friendly. It's a lot more organized, clean, and just like really well taken care of. And so there are a lot of families who move here, and North Austin gets them just like that quintessential Texas life that they imagine that they really want when they think about coming here. I actually read somewhere recently where someone was like, South Austin gets you like food trucks and flip-flops, and North Austin gets you polos and pickleball. All right. Now, that's kind of silly, but it's also very true. So you might see that as a pro of North Austin, or you might see that as a con of North Austin. So actually, I would say on that note, the 7th con of North Austin is that up here, you don't really get that kind of classic keep Austin weird vibe. It's like I keep using the word vibe. Sorry. So I would definitely say kind of the trade-off for that order and kind of for that family friendliness is you get less quirk up here, if you know what I mean. And so again, a lot of people come to Austin because they're like, man, I want to see that live music. I want to go to local coffee shops. Like, man, I want to have that like eclectic thing going on. You are going to be sorely disappointed in the North Austin suburbs if that's what you are coming here thinking that you're going to get. Now, you can definitely get your fix if you want to come into kind of central Austin from time to time. And there definitely are some weirder areas of the suburbs, but for the most part, you're going to get calm, order, buttoned up, family friendliness up there. And a lot of people love that, but a lot of people don't. Now look, North Austin is packed with opportunity, community, and some quirks that you're definitely going to want to know about before you pull the trigger and you move here. So you're definitely going to want to check out my playlist on our full Austin suburbs tour right here.